I'm just wasting precious time. Hi, beautiful people. What the fuck was that? Hi, beautiful people. Today I'm going to talk about books that I have read in the last year, like in 2023. Um, Last year was a really good year in terms of reading books because I read I counted, I read like 113 books. That's a lot, and I don't know. I'm impressed with myself that I have read so many books. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about all the books that I have read, and I'm just going to list out the names and tell you a little bit about the tropes so you'd know which one you'd like and which one you won't. And we are going to get a lot of book recommendations today, and all genres, by the way, because I read fantasy, I read young adult, I read SWAT, I read dark romance, I read soft romance, I read high school romance. Pretty much every trope that you can imagine, I read it. This year, I did a lot of buddy reads. I read all the books with many books with a lot of amazing people, and it just like broadened my horizons a little bit. And it just so it's just so soothing to know that there are other people out there who like the same books as me, and sometimes we would have the same reactions, and it was like hilarious. We exchanged voice notes and we just like ranted about the books. We just went out of town, I'm telling you, and it was at the best time last year, and I'm just hoping that this year is going to be the same. uh, even the even though like in the last 2 months of last year I didn't read much. I read like 5 books and 5 or 6 books in the last 2 months because I was moving to Canada, and I just couldn't manage. And I hope I read a lot this year, and it's it's more in terms of quantity and quality. Anyways, enough of the introduction. Welcome to my YouTube channel. By the way, I always forget to do that. And I'm Nehal. I'm going to talk about romance books. Uh, okay, I have to do some heavy editing. My throat is still acting up, but no one is going to stop me from making YouTube videos now. Can? No one can. Anyways, so the first book that I read in 2023 was a 5 star for me. It was a small town romance. Again, I'm listing it here. In a jam. Am I speaking loudly enough? There's a faint music playing in the background, and it makes me feel good. And I hope that you can listen to me. Anyways, so the first book I read in 2023 was In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. It's really underrated. It's small town romance, marriage of convenience. He's obsessed. He falls first. He has always been in love with her. The FMC is plus size, so there's that too. And it's just very wholesome. There's found family aspect in that. He's a single dad. He's actually an uncle, but he has like single dad vibes. And also like he is shy, so there's that too. And she was popular, and he is shy, and she just never knew that he had always been in love with her, like since when they were in high school together. This was amazing. I just gave it 5 stars. It's There are no plot holes. The characters are amazing. The storyline is amazing. The writing, the pace of the story, it was great. The second book I read, it's actually a series, The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. It was, I don't know, it felt like a breath of fresh air to me because I think I started reading young adult books last year. Young adult books last year. I read the first book, Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and then Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. It was amazing, young adult. There's a love triangle. I normally don't like love triangles. I hate them with a passion. But I think in this book, the love triangle was amazingly written. Like, it actually made sense. It didn't feel like the girl was playing two guys, they were actually in love with each other. Um, Anyways, I'm not going to tell you who is going to end up with who, but the story is amazing. There's action, there's found family, there's mystery. It's amazing. Close to 5 stars for me. And the next book I read was again another series. It's Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. For some reason, I was in a slump at this time, and this book got me out of it. Indigo Ridge. It's She is Badass, and it's another small town romance with a lot of mystery. It's basically a murder mystery book, and there's found family. I love found family, so you'll find those type of books here a lot. I don't know why I'm whispering. I hope you can listen to me, by the way. Otherwise, it would be very unfortunate. Then I read Juniper Hill by Devney Perry, which is the second book in the Eden series. Again, it's a soft romance. Single mom. Uh, he was grumpy in the beginning, but he's like the greenest green flag. He is a chef. Again, found family. He is the brother of the MMC of the first book that I read, Indigo Ridge. Um, then the next book I read was a duet, When Heroes Fall by Gianna Darling and When Villains Rise by Gianna Darling. It's called Anti-Heroes in Love Duet. It is a mafia romance, but if you love mafia romance but you want to read something a little bit different, where she is a badass lawyer and he is a criminal, obviously he's a mafia lord, mafia boss, and there's forced proximity because they are in house arrest and she has to be with him. There's that grumpy sunshine, Reva's grumpy sunshine. She's really, really grumpy and like really closed off and mean and all of that. But it was just amazing to read when she opens up. Uh, and he's morally gray, obviously, he's in mafia, so I don't have to say that, repeat it. Oh, and also I read another novella, After the Bridge by Cassandra Clare, which is a novella which takes place after the Infernal Devices. Then I read, I'm missing something. No. Then I read The Royal Elite Epilogue by Rena Kent, which is like the last type of novella, I think, after the Royal Elite series. The Royal Elite series I read in December 2022. And it was like a roller coaster, like a lot of drama happening, high school drama. If you want those type of like, a lot of mystery and a lot of secrets, plot twist, high school drama where nothing actually makes sense, and it's kind of mindless but it's really, really entertaining, and I think everyone should read that series. There's also found family show, but they are like really fucked up. But there is found family in that, in their own way, I guess. I really enjoyed like a lot of books. Some of the books I didn't like as much, but some of them are like I still think of them till this date. They're amazing. The character development, the plot twist are amazing. Like they are. I I did not see them coming. Like from miles away, I just did not see them coming. I was just like blown away. It was great. Anyways, then I read Powerless by Elsie Silver. I It's Friends to Lovers. I didn't like it as much. It was, I don't know, it seemed all over the place. Mm, I really liked Heartless by Elsie Silver. It was like a 5 stars for me. It was single dad romance. I read it in 2022. Um, so I'm not mentioning it here, but I love that one. I didn't like Powerless at all. Then I read Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This series is my Roman Empire. Like Boys of Torment series, it's high school romance, found family, a lot of trauma, like wounded souls coming together, that trope. And it's also high school romance. It's good girl, bad boy trope. And there's just a lot of pain and a lot of trauma in this book. If you want to be emotionally destroyed, please read Boys of Torment. And especially Joey and Aoife's book, which is Saving Six and Redeeming Six. Oh my god. Like, I felt so many emotions while reading that series. I can't wait for the next book to come out. Like, really. Um, anyways, then I read The Favor by Suzanne Wright. I love marriage of convenience trope, and this book has it. Also, this book, what makes this book different is that there's a lot of communication in this book, and both of the characters are so mature. The way they talk to each other, the way they solve their problems, even if they are like kind of strangers in this relationship. It's marriage of convenience. He's a billionaire. He has been her boss for 3 years. She was her secretary for 3 years. So there's forced proximity, and she always thought that he doesn't like her, but he did. He has ASPD, which is the antisocial personality disorder. He doesn't do feelings. He's very intellectual, morally gray, obviously, and has a dark past. It's smutty as well. There's there are a lot of emotions involved. This book was just perfect. It was not very short or not very long, and it's just like a good read, I would say. And if you love Marriage of Convenience, then pick this book up seriously. Then then I read Kingdom Duet by Rena Kent. I read a lot of series and duets. Like wow, I'm impressed with you. Anyways, so Kingdom Duet by Rena Kent, which is the story of Jonathan King, which is like the father of Aidan King. Aidan King, whose book was in the Royal Elite series. I won't confuse you. I'll just tell you the tropes. In Kingdom Duet, there is forbidden romance because she is his ex-wife's little sister. There's a lot of age gap. I think 15 years, probably more. And again, she's badass. There's a lot of trauma. She's damaged. All of the Rena Kent women are like damaged. All the Rena Kent men are morally gray. Controversial AF, I would say. I really enjoyed Kingdom Duet. Amazing. And then I read Consider Me by Mecca Beck, which is a sports romance, a reformed playboy trope. He is a very famous hockey player, I think. Yeah, he's a hockey player. And she's a good girl. She is a PE teacher. And I didn't like this book as much. I enjoyed it. I think it was too long for me. And for some reason, I just cannot digest the reformed playboy trope. I'm like, how can you just like change your entire personality for one girl? Like, if you tell me that in a dark romance book, I would believe that a male main character comes with guns blazing, with both hands, with both guns in both hands, and I would believe that. Like, I would believe anything. But this reform playboy trope, for some reason, I just cannot digest it. I'm like, that's suspicious. I don't believe you. So maybe for that reason, it took me a really long time to get into this book, and because of that, maybe I didn't like it. But there were, I still give it like 3.5 stars or something, 3 stars. There were a lot of people who are crazy about Carter Beckett, which is the male main character in this book. Maybe you'll like it. You never know. And oh my god, then I read a fantasy series. Villain Gets the Girl fantasy series. I read the Plated Prisoner series. I read Gold, Glint, Gleam, uh, Glow by uh, Raven Kennedy. This series is like, it just hit me right in my chest. I love each and every one of the characters, not the villains, like not the actual villain. I love our villain. Like it will make sense when you read it. I'll tell you the tropes. It's villain gets the girl. Who did this to you? Touch her and you die. She is also powerful. He is also powerful. He's basically royalty. And oh my god, like I the next book has come out. There are only two books left now. One is come out and one is going to come out soon, probably this year. I think if you're a fan of fantasy, please read this book. Like everyone should read this book. It's character driven, and the plot twist and the storyline, the love story, the quotes. It's just mind blowing. It's so captivating. Like I couldn't stop reading. Okay, so the next book I read was My Dark Romeo by L.J. Shen and Parker Huntington, another billionaire romance, Marriage of Convenience. And this book was like, okay. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was kind of predictable, it was smutty. I enjoyed it, but like, it's not something that I would remember, you know? Like, yeah, it was okay, like 3 star, 3.5 star. Then I read Take Over by T.L. Swan. It's a single mom romance. There is a reverse age gap. She is 4 years older than him. Billionaire romance. This man, Tristan Miles, is the greenest green flag that you'd ever find. Like this book was so funny, so emotional. so romantic and so hot. It just fulfilled all of my requirements. And I still think about Tristan Miles to this day. Like, there's something about characters named Tristan that just does it for me. Like, they are hot, like, by default. They are. Anyways, read this book. Then I read Casanova by T.L. Swan, which is in the same series. I think the name of the series is Miles High. I didn't like Casanova, which is his brother's book, but I didn't like it as much. Honestly, I had to like drag myself to finish it. It was enjoyable, predictable, but I don't know. I think the MMC was kind of an asshole. Can I say that? And I just didn't like it towards the end, but it was enjoyable, I think. Then I read The Worst Guy by Kate Canterbury. I just went in with a lot of expectations while reading this book because it's enemies with benefits. There's one trope that which is like your go-to trope, and you're like, if this book has this trope, then I'm going to read it like right this second. For me, it's enemies with benefits, and it's my fault that I had a lot of expectations because I liked another book by the same author, but this book was so annoying. Like, water break, please. My throat is still acting up. What? It's warm water with ginger in it. It would probably, I hope, it soothes my throat enough. I've been coughing all night. Okay, enough of complaining. Uh, Guy by Kate Canterbury. It just gave me a headache. Like, it was funny. It was enemies with benefits. But they both were like in their 40s and they were behaving like children, which is another thing that I don't like. I think I should make a list of the things that I don't like because they are so funny. Anyways, so this book. Then I read, oh my god, then I read My Name is Pink by Veronica Lancet and Morally Corrupt by Veronica Lancet. My Name is Pink is the novella and Morally Corrupt is the book. This book was so this book was so different for me because I haven't read anything like this. She is obsessed with him. She is she is antisocial. She has antisocial personality disorder. She doesn't have any feelings except that she's obsessed with him. She's obsessed to the level that she stalks him. And there are scenes which are like um which will test your morals, But the mystery in this book, and it's super short, it's not long, and storyline is amazing, amazing. If you like badass FMC and if you want to try something different, then you should read this book. You will not regret it. Then I read Twisted by Emily McAllister. It's I think it's the fourth book in the Never After series. It was okay. Like, it was good, but nothing memorable. I don't remember anything about this book except that it was a Aladdin retelling. Aladdin retelling. I don't remember much. Then I read Morally Blasphemous by Veronica Lancet. This was my Veronica Lancet era. um, this book is extremely traumatizing. Extremely traumatizing. This MMC probably has the darkest past that I've ever read. And but their love story was kind of soft, but the plot twist kind of like blew me away. Like, when you read the plot twist in the end of the book and you're like, you question everything and you're like, I don't know if I like this book now. Like, everything that I thought, it turned out to be the opposite. I can't tell you how like boggled my mind was. I was like, my brain cells melted, quite literally. Like, obviously not literally, but like I felt like that. I still to this day I don't know how I feel about this book. I have mixed feelings. But you're welcome to read this book and tell me about it. Next, I needed a soft romance after all this trauma. So I read a good Friends to Lovers. It's Next to You by Hannah Bonham Young. I love this book. Like, it was soft and it's Friends to Lovers and wait. He is obsessed with her. He has always been in love with her, like from the first moment. And he kept falling harder and harder for her, and she had no idea it was friends to lovers. And after some time, there's a friends with benefits situation, which I generally don't like, but the writing was so good that it just kind of, I changed my mind. It's a very like, it's kind of like a comfort read. It's kind of emotional, but there's friends to lovers. And it's a cozy read. You know, if you want to read something between dark romance, or if you're in the mood of something cozy and comforting, then this book is for you. Then I read, then I read Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. This book was so long, y'all. Like, so long. And for what? I kept waiting for this book to end. Even if the story was amazing, the characters were, like, you know, very different from what I've read. And I wanted to know what happens next, but I think it was kind of stretched, and it stretched so long that I kind of lost interest. There's forbidden romance. I can't tell you how or why because that would be a spoiler. But there's forbidden romance and there's age gap. There's a lot of depth in this. Hydration rate. Oh my god. My mattress is wet. I have to sleep here. Are you kidding me? Oh god, what should I do? Should I switch on the heater? Shit. How did the water come? It was not even filled. What the fuck? I hope this dries on its own. It should dry on its own, right? Where should I sit now? Oh my god, my leggings is wet as well. I'll sit in the dry area, I think. I hope my legs are not visible because I'm sitting in a very weird way. Oh my god, my hand is. Listen, Land. Never open a water bottle when you're sitting on a mattress. Mates are cooking and I should go out and help them. But I'm here filming a YouTube video and I made my mattress wet. What the fuck? Can't do anything right. No. I think I'm going to take out this whole bed sheet. Thank God my mattress is not wet. It's only the bed sheet. Oh Jesus. Hopefully it dries. Please pray for me. I don't want to sleep in a wet bed, please. I think it will dry. I'm delusional. It will dry. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm cold right now. Should I on the heater? I should. I'm standing in front of the heater. Switched on another heater. I'm filming this video. No matter what happens. Okay, the last book I talked about was. Oh. Then I read a self help book. I stretched it for like a year, okay? Don't judge me. Anyways, it's a really good self help book. It's called The Anatomy of Loneliness by T. Swan. I know she's controversial, but I really liked her writing. It was nice. Like, made me think about my life in general. Anyways, so the next book I read was By a Thread by Lucy Score. This book, I can actually explain this book in one line. It's he is he is attracted to her and he hates that. Like he hates that he's attracted to her, and the whole like the first half of the book is about like how they hate each other and how he's so attracted to her, but he can't stop himself from thinking about her, but he hates her so much. And also there's that trope where he is always helping her because she's broke and she has a lot of problems in her life. He is her boss, so there's workplace romance, and he does these little thoughtful things for her, which I still think to this day. And it's a amazing book. It's kind of thick, but like I didn't feel like it was stretched. I really enjoyed like every storyline, each and every line. Anyways, so the next was, I should really stop saying anyways. So the next book I read was a trilogy. I read Deception trilogy by Rena Kent. Again, really controversial, kind of mafia romance. No, it is a mafia romance. And she is a ballerina. He is a mafia lord. Like a mafia. Why do I keep saying mafia lord? He is a mafioso. No, he's just a mafia. What is the word for it? Leader. He's a mafia leader. Yeah. English is not my first language, and you can see that. I mean, you can hear that. I There are like two types of people who are. There are people who are obsessed with Adrian Volkov, like they daydream about him, and they think that he is their husband. There are two types of girls. The first is this one, and the second one, who, and the second type of girls are like they just hate him. Like I do have friends who hate Adrian Volkov, and I don't get it because I'm obsessed with him. He's such a like he's such a man. Like every time that he comes in the book, like every time he's described, I'm like, oh my god, there is a man in the room. Even if I'm like sitting alone, like lying on the sofa and like reading, curled up, I feel like, oh my god, there's a man. He's so masculine, really morally gray, like has fucked up morals, non existent basically. But there's a marriage of convenience in this book. There's a lot of forced things going on. Like he forces her to marry him, and a lot of, like I said, it's really controversial, and there are a lot of plot twists. Like oh my god, like, and also there's a forbidden romance in this trope, in this book. Okay, so I really liked it. Like I really liked this trilogy. A lot of people don't. Uh, like there's a like 60-40 ratio. Like 60% people like this book and 40% don't. Okay, so then I read God of Wrath by Rena Kent, which is like the second book. No, it's the third book in Legacy of Gods series. People are obsessed with him. I don't get it. Like I know, like I acknowledge that he's hot, and I really like the tropes in this book, but it wasn't like very. It didn't stood out to me, you know. So I enjoyed it, but I don't remember like a lot of details about this book. I enjoyed it, but it's not memorable for me. I still give it like 3.5 stars or something. But I understand why everyone is obsessed with Jeremy Volkov. He's a biker, he has tattoos. He's a mafia prince, like he stalks her, he's morally grey. I mean, who wouldn't like him? I like Killian Carson. I'm a Killian girly, which is from God of Malice. Then I read The Villain by LJ Shen. I should stop this, right? Because it's like, even if it's not making me cold, but it's like hindering with my voice. I'm going to stop it. I'm warm enough. I'm still cold. I'm lying. I'm like so excited to talk about books. Like nothing can stop me. Like all the hurdles and obstacles. I don't know. I don't care. Anyways, so the next book, The Villain by Algishan, I was talking about. He is morally gray. He is. There's a lot of age gap, forbidden romance, a little bit, marriage of convenience. He enemies to lovers. He hates her, but she's obsessed with him. She's like she has always looked up to him ever since she was like 14, 15. She has like a mad crush on him. So um she had to marry him for some reasons I can't tell you, but he needed they both needed each other and they conveniently married each other. And this book is like really hard to read because if you're into unrequited love and you want to break your heart and you want to read about a story where she is obsessed with him and he just doesn't pay attention for the most of the book, then this book is for you. But he's very like unfeeling type. Like he has no emotions and he always keeps track of uh the fact that he's not attached to anything or anybody. And I was at first I was like, what is this going on? But as the story revealed, I kind of understood why he was the way he was, and I kind of loved him for it. Like I felt so deeply for him. Like his secret, oh my god, like it was great. It's a really good billionaire romance, which makes you kind of feel a lot, you know. And at the time, it just worked for me. Right now, I probably wouldn't read anything like this. And then I read something soft. I needed a rom com. So I read Deserts for Stressed People by Letizia Lorini. For some reason, this author is really underrated. I love her books though. I've read like two books from her now. And this book is like workplace romance. He's her boss. Um, there is secret identity thing going on because they are secretly chatting with each other and they are like crushing on each other, but they don't know. Like she knows, but he doesn't know. Um, and then there are he's her boss, so like there are a lot of scenes where he wears suits, and the way that it is described, it's just I don't know why I'm like emphasizing this microtrope, but I know I love it. So and I know that a lot of my friends love it, so that I'm specifying it. And what else was there? It's a there's forbidden romance because she has a boyfriend, but he is cheating on her. So like I think it's okay. But there's secret identity thing that I loved. The rom com thing I loved. He's a green is green flag, which I loved. Okay, the workplace romance, just the tension between them, was amazing. And the next book I read was The King's Bride by P.S. Scott. I think I talked about this book in detail in my previous video. I'll link it in the description box if I can. Uh, the video that I did for The Villain Gets the Girl trope. And it's with a touch of fantasy. And it was 5 stars for me. It was like really hot and it was really great. I won't talk about it much. Then I read Long Time Coming by Megan Quinn, another Friends to Lovers. There's a lot of extreme pining in this book. There's third act breakup in this book. And the first half of this book was so frustrating for me to read because they just wouldn't admit that they like each other. Like, it is so clear to us readers that they are attracted to each other, but they just wouldn't admit. And it actually made sense because they had been friends for like 10 years. They had known each other for a long, long time, and they live side by side, like here, like that. And there's a lot of history, so I get it why they didn't admit, but it was like so frustrating for me. But the second half was so satisfying, like it was worth it. I would say it was worth it. So I think I gave it like 4.3 star. Yeah, because the first half was so frustrating. Otherwise, this book was perfect. Brecker is like so hot and so wholesome, and like he's just amazing. The second half is basically smart. Like it's really really hot. Like you have to. Uh, I'm not going to specify, but you can imagine like what I'm trying to say. Then I read A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I'm a huge fan of Hades and Persephone retelling, even if they are not all that. Like, I don't think I have ever read a book which was like 5 stars for me of Hades and Persephone retelling, but something about him, like something about a dark god, is like keeps calling on to me, and I have to read it. This one was really popular. Again, it was not all that, but I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of plot holes which I was aware of, but like sometimes you're aware that this book is not that good, but you're like vibing. So it was like that. Hmm. And then I read Fire Night by Penelope Douglas, which is a novella which takes place after Devil's Night series, and it was like really bittersweet and very like nostalgic for me to read because I loved the Devil's Night series, which I read when it came out. I think 2 3 years ago, whenever it came out, and like 5 or 6 of my friends were like reading Devil's Night series for the first time, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to read the novella with you. So I read the novella, but he read the novella with my friend, and it was so good. Like it was nostalgic, like I said. Again, it's a fucked up found family. There's a lot of trauma, and they are all morally gray. Like they've been to jail, type of morally gray, and it's kind of like mindless nonsense. Not nonsense. I love it, but like it doesn't make sense. Like, that they are literally so young. They are literally so young they cannot run the town. But like, it was interesting. Then I read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which was 5 stars for me. Like it was 5 stars for a lot of people, and I don't think I have to say much because it's really popular. I loved it. Loved it. Do I do hard like this, or I don't know how to do hard? But anyways. I like this Taylor Swift way. I love Zayden, and I love Violet even more. She's so badass. Inspirational. Then I read Sinner's Duet by Sophie Lark. Like I said, it was the duet series year for me. Uh, this book is very, very controversial, very, very dark. He is a serial killer. There are basically no morals in this book. There is, it's very graphic. There's a bit of gore. Like there is not gore, but like it's really dark, is what I'm trying to say. Check trigger warnings. I loved it though. I really liked it. And in his own way, Cole Blackwell, which is the MMC of this book, this duet, is a green flag. I know he's a serial killer. I know. But he's a green flag to her. Like he respects women and all the things that matter, he has. And I'm not going to go much into detail because I have other books to talk about. Then I read a wholesome young adult book, Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lean Solomon. This book is Academic Rivals to Lovers. There are very less books about this trope. And why? It's the best trope ever. So I read, they're my roommates. So this book was young adult, very clean romance. They are both 18. Um, this whole book takes place on the last day of their school, and that's when she discovers that he's obsessed with her. He has already fallen for her, and the whole time they were like rivals. They hated each other. And it's that trope where everyone thinks that they are hooking up, but they are actually enemies. It's that trope. But it was very cute and wholesome and comforting, cozy. Yeah. The next book I read was A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn, which was a billionaire romance, fake dating. I remember enjoying this book a lot because it's so satisfying when they are actually fake dating, but he ends up falling for her for real. Like it's amazing. So I read this book. It was nice. It was like 4.4 star or something like that. Um, then I read Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I know, I was really late to the party, but I think I DNF'd it the first time because there was a lot of politics and a lot of big words about political things, and I was like kind of confused, so I just kept it on hold. But when the series was coming out, sorry, when the movie was coming out, I was like, I need to get on the train. I need to read about this. And oh my god, they are so wholesome. It's an MM romance. And there's forbidden, obviously, forbidden romance, romance, enemies to lovers. They kind of hated each other, and also they exchange a lot of emails and text. So there's that trope. I love this trope, like the way they pour their hearts out in emails or text or letters. There's just something about it that just gets to me. So there was that trope, and then I read LVOE by Atticus. It's a poetry collection. I read poetry sometimes, and I like Atticus' work. So yeah, that I read. Then I read Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, which is like the second book in the Thieves Duet. If you want to read something beautiful, poetic, with poetic and lyrical writing, like enemies to lovers, um, young adult fantasy, then this duet is it for you. Like uh, whenever young adult fantasy is mentioned, I think this duet will come first in my mind. It's so beautiful. It's long, but you won't feel it. It's the type of book that you savor. Like I will read few chapters every day. I don't want this book to end. This that type of book. Then I read Morally Ambiguous by Veronica Lancet. Like I said, I was in my Veronica Lancet era. This book is the darkest book I've ever read, and I've talked about it in detail in my previous video, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But it's very dark. Please check trigger warnings. The MC is cute though, at least with her. Then I read Minx by Sophie Lark. It was okay, I guess. Really smutty, but okay. Oh my god, this video is so long. How the fuck am I going to edit? Anyways, so then I read Tarantino Killing Love by Wafia Basha. I got an arc for it. If you like Mindfuck series and you're missing all the story, and all the action of Mindfuck series, then you should read this one. Then I read The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. In popular opinion, I didn't really like it that much because, again, she was like 37. She was like 37 or 38 and she was behaving like a child. I just find it appalling and repulsive. So I didn't like it. But it was cute though. I understand why people like it. Then I read Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. If I could give it seven, I would. Like, it's a 7 stars book. Boy obsessed forbidden romance. Age gap. He is no, there's not much age gap. A little bit. And then he is her. Uh, wait. He is her fake boyfriend's older brother. It's like that. Forbidden romance. And he is so perfect, like Jack, that's his name. He is so perfect. He's the type of man that any girl would want, like the type of love that he has for Elsie. And it's just so wholesome. And he's so obsessed with her. He sees her, and he just, all the thoughtful things that he does for her, it's it just gets to me. Like, it was, he's in my heart. Like, I love this book so much. And then I read Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, which is a part of Throne of Glass series. I love this series so much. It's like Game of Thrones in my head. It's there's a lot of like graphic action, violence going on. The plot twist. It's very character driven. It's plot driven. I'm still reading it. I think I'm on the seventh or eighth book right now. It's amazing. Then I read Devil You Know by Elizabeth O'Rourke, which is enemies to lovers. They are both competing for the same position. They are both like this hotshot lawyers. He is obsessed with her though, secretly, and she has no idea. He falls first. He is so obsessed with her. Like, if I tell you the things that he did for her, oh my god, I'm taking a lot of time. I'm just going to be really fast from now on. Then I read Come Morning Light by Charlotte Day. Uh, don't remember much, but it was enjoyable. Then I read Reckless by Elsie Silver. It's really good. It's single mom romance, reverse grumpy sunshine, reverse age gap. He's like 2 years older, 2 years younger than her or something. Small town romance, found family, amazing. And then I read Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas again, part of Throne of Glass series. Then I read Devil in Winter by Lisa Kleypas. This is a small town romance. No, sorry. This is a historical romance, marriage of convenience, uh, shy, good girl, and playboy trope. This playboy, though, he's not a playboy. The right word is he's a rake. That's what the word they use in historical romance. It was digestible for me though. I really enjoyed it. Like, probably 4.6 stars something. I really enjoyed it. It was like not really long and really like satisfying when he falls for her. Also, she's inexperienced, so there's that too. Then I read The Rogue Not Taken by Sarah McLean, another historical romance. Then I read The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea by Elizabeth O'Rourke. It is a forbidden romance. He is her ex-boyfriend's older brother, and they are in a trip together, so they have to be with each other all the time. So there's that forced proximity as well. One of us is famous. She is a famous rock star. That's that true. Then I read Death's Obsession by Avina St. Graves. I had talked about it in my previous video. It's a dark romance. Then I read Sincerely Your Inconvenient Wife by Julia Wolf, which is another billionaire marriage of convenience romance. Uh, Enemies to lovers. There's workplace romance as well because he's her boss. And it was nice, satisfying. And then I read The Devil Gets His Due by Elizabeth O'Rourke. It's accidental pregnancy. She's lucky. Tell that. Then I read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I can talk about this book all day, but I won't. It's it's the writing is so beautiful. They are both rivals. They're competing for the same position. It's young adult. It's clean, and the main trope is letters. They write letters to each other without knowing that they're writing to each other, and the writing is so beautiful. I think even if you don't like any of the trope, then you should read it for the writing alone. Like, I have read so many books. Till now, I've read like 500 books, I think. 500 plus books. I haven't found a single book with writing as beautiful as this one. Like it's it's so vastly different from whatever I've read. It's one of the best books I've read in my whole life, and I will always cherish this book. Like I wish I could read it for the first time again. Then I read Thorn's Duet by Rena Kent. Forbidden romance, dark, smutty. Then I read Birthday Kisses by Monica Murphy, which is a novella. Not that good. It was okay. Then I read The Wedding Menu by Letizia Lorini. Friends to Lovers. She is a people pleaser. He's a green flag. He's golden retriever, I think. But I love this book. It's past present perspective. I love this book so much. It's one of those books that breaks your heart, and you're like, I wanted to throttle her and I wanted to tell her that please choose him. But there's forbidden romance as well because she's engaged already. Then I read Recipe for Love by Katie Pfeiffer. I don't know why I read it. This was so bad. The paperback was just lying around and I was tempted, I guess. Then I read The Blood We Crave, Part 1 by Monty J. It's a dark romance. He's a serial killer. Then I read Until You by Kay Bromberg. It's a single dad romance. He uh, he has twin girls. He is an ex-cop. He has tattoos. Small town romance. A little bit of found family as well. She is hiding from the world for some reason, and there's that mystery. But this book was like amazing. Like there was this smile on my face the whole time I was reading this book. It's that type. Then I read One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. This probably goes in the list of worst books I read this year. Anyways, then I read Empire of Sin by Rena Kent. This book was so hard. Like, if I could hold this paperback in my hand, my fingertips would burn. Like, it's a weird metaphor, but seriously, this book is so hard. Like, it's a standalone. If you want something like hot characters, hot story, and like hot scenes, then please read this book. 5 stars. Then I read Empire of Lust by Rena Kent. Again, 5 stars. As enemies with benefits. They've always hated each other. Uh, Single dad romance. Uh, like I don't know how else to convince you. Like just read this book. It's Empire of Lust is amazing, amazing. 5 stars for me. Then I read Meet Me Halfway by Lillian T. James. It's a single mom romance. I didn't like it though. God of Ruin by Rena Kent. I'm in the minority who liked this book. A lot of people didn't. Understandable though. I like Landed. Then I read. Wait, I'm not including all the books that I have like DNF'd. Okay, I'm just including all the books that I have finished. Then I read Mine Till Midnight by Lisa Kleypas. I read this. Um, it is another small town romance. He's kind of a playboy, yeah, and she's a spinster. Interesting combination. Then I read The Off Limits Rue by Sarah Adams. It was like a cute, fluffy read, kind of like a 3 star. I read Through by Runix. It's a short story. I don't know why I'm counting it, but it was amazing. I want it to be a book someday. It has to be a book. And then I read Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score, which is the last book in the Knock 'Em Out series. It is probably the best book in the series. There is childhood friends to lovers. There's a little bit of age gap as well. He's a billionaire. A lot of mystery. Very satisfying. I loved this book so much. Then I read Blood Always by Jill Ramsower, which is a mafia romance. Didn't like it as much. It didn't stood out to me. Then I read Queen of Shadows by Shara Jimas, which is same, continuous in Throne of Glass series. Then I read Fairy by Veronica Lancet. I've never read anything like this. Like it's 770 pages long. There are like 3 love stories in this. Every chapter has a plot twist. It is so wacky that I didn't know what to think. I was like, there are so many plot twists. I I didn't know what to think, but the love story is so beautiful. Then I read The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare, another historical romance, marriage of convenience. Then I read Win Some, Lose Some by Shay Savage, which is kind of like a soft boy romance. She's popular, beautiful. Then I read Taste by Melanie Harlow, which is again, they are childhood enemies. They have grown up together. There's enemies with benefits situation. They are stranded in a storm in a hotel room. Then I read Tease by Melanie Harlow. I didn't like it. He's a shy billionaire. I thought I would like it, but I didn't as much. The Beast of Bestwick by Amalie Howard, another historical romance. I was on a spree, like seriously. Then I read Yours Truly by Epi Jimenez, another soft boy romance. He's a green flag. He's like the best fictional man that I've ever read. Then I read, there are letters in this book as well. They're both doctors. They're both competing for the same position. There's that. Then they fake date. There's fake dating too. And then I read Savaged by Mia Sheridan. If you're missing Archer's voice, then you should read this book. Then I read Burn for You by J.T. Geisinger. I remember finishing this book in one day and giving it 5 stars. It's like the best slow burn book I've ever read. I think the slow burn is until 70%. But I was not counting chapters or pages. I'm telling you, it was really entertaining. He's really grumpy. I enjoyed it so much. It's the best Grumpy Sunshine book. Then I read Spookily Yours by Jennifer Chipman. It's a Halloween romance. Then I read The Bride by Julie Garwood, another historical romance. Then I read Hopeless by Elsie Silver. Honestly, if I could give it a 1 star, I would. It was so bad. Then I read Him series by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. It's a sports romance. Probably the first book I've read in this type of like genre. Uh, Again, it was heartbreaking. It was heart melting. It was also really romantic. It's friends to lovers. There's a lot of pining. It's a sports romance. It is an amazing book. Then I read King of Greed by Anna Huang. What was this book? Seriously. Then I read Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I don't know what she did with this book. Like, how can someone go wrong with this characters and this story? But I really liked some of the chapters because I love Zayden and Violet. But the book as a whole was not that good. Like, it was excruciatingly long. Like, then I read Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood, another young adult romance. They're both chess champions. He is like a world champion and she's a newbie, but she's really, really smart. He's obsessed with her secretly. This book it is a slow burn young adult. I enjoyed this book a lot. Like I wasn't waiting for the spice to come at all. It was really satisfying and amazing. Like it was kind of a page turner for me. Then I read Throne of Power by Rena Kent. It's a marriage of convenience. He's morally grey, dark romance. Check to the warnings. Um, she's really badass. He is he is an assassin. Like he can kill someone with his bare hands type. Then I read God of Fury by Rena Kent, another romance, dark romance. I loved this book so much. Like the scenes, the wholesome scenes between them. I lived for this book. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great one. Then I read Christmas by Heart's Ridge by Elizabeth Bright because I was in my Christmassy mood and I wanted a Christmas romance. Um, she always had a crush on him. He was he is her best friend's older brother, so kind of like that. And it's a small town romance, a little bit of one family, I think, and they work together. He is her boss for a while, so there's that too. And it's a little bit forbidden because they're no, not forbidden, but it's secret relationship because they're hiding behind everyone's back. And then I read Your Dad Will Do by Katie Robert. This is a novella. It's filthy. It's pure filth. It's basically it's there is a lot of age gap, like around 21 years, and he is her cheating ex-boyfriend's dad. That's that. I convinced you, I know. Then I read Skin of a Sinner by Avina St. Graves. He's a criminal. They are childhood friends. He kills people left and right. I think I have talked about it in a previous video, but you know what I mean. Right now, I'm reading a lot of books at the same time. I'm in that zone of these books. But okay, this is it. I'm going to heavily edit it and make it a bit short because I think I've been talking for an hour. I think. Oh my god, like time flies by when I've if you can't hear me properly, it's not your phone, it's me. My throat is acting up. I'll try to I'll try to drink as much hot water as I can, probably some honey, some ginger, and I will just come back with a better voice and better recommendations. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. You're the real one. I love you guys. My little babies, my loves, my beautiful people, my little cherry blossoms. What am I even saying? Anyways, all of my socials would be below, which is basically bookstagram. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video very, very soon. And you can comment down below uh, whatever suggestions you have for me and whatever tropes that you want next. And yeah, thank you so much. Bye.